Welcome to the Chamber Vibes Podcast with your host, Brittany Timmons, the Greater Guthrie Chamber of Commerce CEO and President. In this podcast, you will hear from local guests who will discuss topics such as leadership, small business, and our vibrant community. You'll also hear success stories and tips from amazing local businesses, dive into important news, meet community leaders, and find out how you can get involved in our community. From the Second Banana Media Studios in beautiful and historic downtown Guthrie, America, here is Brittany Timmons.
Hello, everyone. I am excited to be back in the Second Banana Media Studio for another episode of Chamber Vibes. And today I have my good friend Stacy with me from Rick's Fine Chocolates and Coffees.
Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
Good. Surviving? Yes. And if this background doesn't make you want to rush down to Rick's right now, I really don't know what will, right?
Right.
Because it's pretty decadent.
Yeah.
Decadent? Is that a word? Yeah, decadent.
That's
okay, I was like, I'm going to butcher that when I say that. Yes, decadent chocolate strawberries, which we will be talking about shortly.
In the candy case right now.
In the candy case right now at Rick's Fine Chocolates and Coffees. Okay, so let's dive into all things Rick's Fine Chocolates and Coffees. So you've been in Guthrie for a minute, right?
Yes.
Yeah. How long is that minute now?
I moved to Guthrie in 2003, September of 2003.
Okay.
But we didn't open the business until 2006.
Okay.
So we were here for a few years. And the funny thing is this is a smaller town, right? And everybody knows everybody. But when you're not from here, you don't know anybody and you don't know anything.
I get that.
So for like 3 years, people were like, "Oh, we're having this at the Victor Building." I'm like, "The what building? What is that?"
Right.
You give me an address, kind of thing. And then when we opened the business and we were more customer facing and community facing, like overnight, we knew everybody.
You know everything. Yeah, and it's
so
been that way
awesome.
ever since. Yeah, so you opened the doors in 2006. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the background of Rick's. I know that people watching may be like, oh, I know Rick's. It's famous and it's been in Guthrie for a long time, but do you really know? And I think what's fun about doing these podcasts is diving more into the when, the how, the why, and all of those things. So why Rick's? How did it get started?
Well, it actually started through my cousin Rita at Piqua, Ohio. She was currently working for a company called Winans, Fine Chocolates and Coffees. And I was working a corporate job with U.S. Cellular. I was a field marketing manager. We launched the market here in 2004. But we were pregnant and needed to we were looking for something that was closer to home, that would eventually replace my corporate income. And so, it takes 3 to 5 years, to build a business. Yes. We thought, okay, well, if we start now, by the time, anyways. And they were just branching out into the franchise industry. And my cousin Rita was like, oh my gosh, downtown Guthrie would be perfect for a Winans. And it fit the platform and the footprint, everything. And we looked into it. It seemed doable. And so...
and kind of scary, though. I can imagine. That's a total... And we've had several chamber investors that I've interviewed that have had these complete 180, switches, of career change.
Yes.
So that was a big decision for you.
It's a huge decision. And Rick had retired from the police department in 2005. So he basically said, you're going to have to help. You're going to have to be there to babysit. We hired a store manager and employees, that work at the store. But he did. He was willing to do that. And then 2 years into it, my cousin Rita left that company. And so our relationship kind of went. And the franchise that was in Norman had already closed the year before.
Oh, okay. So it was already in Oklahoma.
Yeah. We had called them and said, what did you do to get out from the franchise? And they were like, we just told them to stop sending us stuff. So we did. And then Rita, since she didn't work there anymore, told us how to do everything over the phone. Where to buy the bigger machine, where to buy the products. She said, if you wanted to maintain the products and services that, you have been, because we saw the impact that it had on our community. All the other franchises either completely sold out, completely closed out, or changed to something completely different.
Right.
But we loved the chocolate and the coffee and what it brought to the heart of Guthrie.
Right.
And so she was able to walk us through how to do some things over the phone. So in the beginning, we were just dipping marshmallows and Twinkies and Twizzlers, and so I think we only had maybe 30 products. Well, you were doing
marketing for a cell phone company, and now you're dipping chocolate.
So we only had maybe 30, 40 products, and then in 2011, that's whenever Rick decided to go a different direction.
Okay,
and it was our 5th year in business, and at that point, I had a seat on the board for Frontier Country Marketing Association, which at that point was part of Oklahoma tourism. You've got Green Country and Red Carpet and all that. Well, Frontier Country was the center 15 counties, and I represented Logan County on that board. And so I was at a table with Remington Park and Frontier City and Whitewater Bay and all these museums, and because it was a tourist,
large
so anything that
contacts.
was So, and they all bought custom candy bars from me or put products in their gift shops, and so I knew that it was going to cost a lot of money to change the name, and we're just now exploding,
Sure.
with
so you
our
went from
brand.
Winans to Rick's.
Yeah, in 2008. Right? Yeah,
okay.
It's 2 years. So I didn't go back there.
It's
did
okay.
I
got you. I got
so
you.
So 2 years. She left the company, and so that's when we got out.
Right. Okay, got it.
But
so some people may remember it as Winans. Maybe. Right. That was before I was in this area, but okay.
And so in 2012, I didn't work for U.S. Cellular anymore, and this was my job. So I'm like, we have to make this work, or we're not going to be here anymore.
Right.
And that was the first year that I was by myself running the whole thing from January 1 to December 31st, and it was the first year we turned a profit.
Wow, girl. We're going to high five. I don't know if we've ever high-fived on the podcast, but we're going to do that. Wow.
I'm like, God, this is up to you. I put it in your hands,
Absolutely.
We'll see how this goes.
Wow.
And it happened. And so 13 was better than 12, 14 was better than, and it's so forth and so on.
Yeah.
And
so that's when you knew, I'm where I need to be, right?
And each year I learned how to make new stuff. I brought on new people. We already made our own ganache before, but then we started making our own caramel, our own toffee bar. And now we have over 300 products that we make and produce. And not just in milk, dark, and white chocolate, but we brought ruby chocolate to the table
which
as well.
tell everyone about ruby chocolate.
Ruby chocolate is the 4th chocolate on the market, and it's called ruby because it's pink. And that's the color.
And that's not you coloring it pink.
No,
right.
It's the natural color, natural flavors. Nothing's added to it. The actual cocoa pod is pink. And Barry Callebaut out of Switzerland is the company that founded it, and they took 2 years to figure out how to, because it tempers like nothing else. Like it's not at all like milk dark or white chocolate. It has its own way of how you have to, melt it down, and tempering is where you drop the temperature.
Okay, I was like, you're gonna have to
down again.
I thought I knew what that meant, but we definitely have to dumb it down here for us non-chocolatiers.
So it took them a while, about 2 years. They actually rolled it out into the United States in Chicago and LA in 2017.
Okay.
But it wasn't available for wholesale sale until 2019.
So it's one of your newer-ish products.
So we got it in the summer of 2019, but didn't want to roll it out during Christmas and have it buried under all the Christmas stuff. So we held on to it, and we launched it Valentine's Day of 2020. Yes.
Yeah, and it has its own unique flavor.
Yes. Yes, it's like sour cream with raspberry. So it's tart and tangy, and it's definitely unique on its own, but when you mix it with like pistachio nuts or caramel it's super, super good.
Yes, and so now you do all kinds of different ruby chocolate things, right? Like you said, caramels. Of course, you can just get the mark.
Our version of the Wordle, can't say turtle because it's trademarked, and that was from Winans, so that's why they called it Wordles, just because of the W. But we just kept it because it was fun.
I love it.
And that wasn't trademarked.
That's my personal favorite drink, by the way, is a Wurtle. I've had people be like, a what? A what'le?
A Wurtle.
A Wurtle. So anyway.
A lot of our drinks are made to taste like the candy we make, and so we have cherry cordials and all that stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. So ruby chocolate,
ruby chocolate. And
now do you do strawberries at Valentine's and ruby chocolate too?
We did last year. Okay. But because ruby's so much more expensive, we had to charge more, and paying $6 for a strawberry, unless you're going to Godiva or everybody else charges $6 for a strawberry. But when you're only charging $3.50, it's hard to. Yeah. So
you
we
get
can.
all kinds of other ruby.
We totally
options.
can if you want to, but
Just a
on
little
the
bit.
pre-order strawberry sheet, it's just milk dark or white.
Okay, got ya. But if you want ruby chocolate and you have no idea what we're talking about, then you need to stop into Rick's, and there's all kinds of different candies, or just the ruby chocolate bark. itself.
Yeah, we do solid bark.
So,
we do a bark with cranberries and pistachios, and then we do orange peels, peanut butter cups, and the
Oh, the
Wordles
orange
with
peel. I had that.
Wordles with pistachios.
Okay, there we go. Very
Yes.
cool. Okay, so over 300 products. Yes, and let's talk about when did you start wholesaling to other businesses outside of Guthrie?
Remington Park actually was my very first account
Okay.
that I had. They ordered the custom Katie bars and 2 different sizes. They did the 1 ounce for whenever they set up, the tourism booths, and then the 2 ounce bar was for internal employee distribution. And they got bought out by Chickasaw, and they
Right.
owned Padre, so they had to. They can't order from me anymore.
But
I still have their
that
Katie
didn't
trays.
slow you down, friend, because now
Yeah.
how many different wholesale?
How many? Well,
clients
just
do you
custom candy bars with company logos in them. We have 32 different companies. In fact, I just got a new 1 pound candy bar from Skiatook Statuary in Skiatook, Oklahoma.
Yeah?
He ordered a 1 ounce candy bar initially, loved it so much, paid the $350 again for another setup for a 1 pound bar. Those are beautiful. Oh my gosh, they're so gorgeous.
So
We just shipped those out today.
She's literally spreading Guthrie love all over.
All over.
All
Yeah,
over.
Yeah.
And you have a really good online business too, which I
Mm-hmm.
think that's something a lot of times people forget. That a lot of our businesses here in Guthrie have websites, not just
Mm-hmm.
websites, but where you can actually do online ordering. So
Uh-huh.
people that live in, that don't live in Guthrie, but like you said, I know you mentioned at Chamber Coffee that you've had people that stopped in and they loved it, and then they go back home to wherever and they're like, oh, how can I get it? Well, they could just pop online and order.
And they do.
And they do. So you're at the post office a lot.
Just took one
Yes.
today. Yes, they ordered one overnight. Yeah.
That's awesome.
And we do have people that will call too. This is one other thing that's really awesome is like somebody that lives in California has family here, and they'll call me and they'll be like, hey, can you put this together, and have it shipped to, my sister or my brother, and put this little note in there. And we do that for people all of the time.
Very personalized.
Yeah. We've
Yeah,
even
that's fun.
had customers call and buy gift cards over the phone and just say, is there any way that you can just keep that on your counter? So when my friend Laura comes in every day, they pay for her coffee for her with the
that's
gift
cool.
card. And
That's
they just
a fun
call and
personal
refill
touch.
the gift card on a regular basis.
I love that. Well, I know, if you don't know Stacy and the staff, like I said, you need to get to know them, but I know you can tell that you just love what you do. You love the personalization. I know you have clients that are like, they'll tell you their budget and then you get to have fun, putting baskets together, and things like that. And so, is that kind of how that works? Like, do you have a lot of clients that just say, here's my budget, make it happen? Or sometimes they're very particular about what they want?
Every
a little
once
bit
in
of
a
both?
while, we'll have people that are particular about what they want, but for the most part, I make it that easy for them. Because
Yeah.
they're like, how does this work? And I said, well, you tell me how much you want to spend, and I'll make that happen. We do have some companies that are delivering gift baskets to offices, and so instead of having 3 large packages of product, they want to break it down into smaller, like snack size, so they can get a multiple choice or more of a variety. So we do custom packaging for orders like that for customers that need something that's different. And we like Christmas boxes. We have a company that it's a decorative mailer box basically, and so we put all these little yummy goodies in there.
Yeah,
and
I just think
ship
that's
them.
fun because
So-
every package or box, I know even when I've gone in there just to grab a quick gift basket, it's all uniquely, done. It's not, you're not going to see the same things over and over again. You know, you guys get creative and mix and match things, and yeah, it's fun.
And the way the bow's tied on it can be untied easily, and you can open it up and you can swap out stuff. You know what I mean? So if you didn't
Right.
want the Twizzlers and you wanted pretzel rods, it's
You
super.
can-
Yeah.
Yeah, switch it up. Okay.
Yeah.
So besides just the chocolate, I know we've talked a lot about that. You say over 300 products, and I know that's mostly the chocolate products, but you also have the coffee.
Yes.
And a variety of coffee drinks, and you also have breakfast and lunch items.
I
And
do.
maybe people don't realize
my
that. So
goodness.
let's talk about that.
I'm so glad that you brought that up
I got you, friend. I got you.
because I have an announcement.
Oh, okay. This is not planned. I did not know this. I'm excited.
We just made the decision last night at our
Okay.
staff meeting. We will be discontinuing quiche and
Okay.
wraps,
Okay.
but we will be introducing build your own breakfast sandwich.
Yum.
So it'll be kind of like the Subway concept where you come in
Yes.
and you pick your bread, you pick your protein, you pick
Okay.
your cheese, and you pay for what you buy. So it's each priced individually.
Okay.
So you only pay for what you get. So for
Okay.
instance, I'm a vegetarian, and when I go to McDonald's and I want a sausage, egg, and cheese, I have to get the sausage on the side, or I
Right.
just order it without the sausage, period. They don't discount that for you. You still have to pay the full price for that sausage sandwich, even though
Right.
you don't want the sausage.
Right.
Well, for us, you just pay for what you get. So
Okay.
we'll have croissants.
Okay.
Like the buttery.
Oh my
We've
gosh.
already had to try this out to make sure that we could do that. So we've already been sampling. But you'll have a croissant, everything bagel, plain bagel, or waffle. Will be your
Okay.
bread choices. And then, of course, we also have the sourdough bread, too. That's always available for our panini sandwiches. That we still will continue to do those. And then the protein will be the ham or sausage patty.
Okay.
And then we will have American cheese, Swiss cheese, or mozzarella cheese. And then,
amazing.
Oh my gosh, it's going
Yeah.
to be. And waffles,
So
we'll have
people
syrup
don't
and
get
butter.
upset that the quiche is leaving.
No, because we're
you're
replacing it with
gonna have some great
something even
options.
bigger and better.
Yeah, and I just think that's something that people may not know, watching or listening, or
Mm-hmm.
forget that you guys do have. You're a little more than just chocolates and coffees.
Yes.
That you do have breakfast and
Yes,
lunch
we do have breakfast and lunch
options.
And there were several reasons going into that choice of changing that menu item. First of all, it's 5 years we've been doing that, and now with the price of eggs, we had to jump the price from $4 to like $7.50. Almost double. And it just
change
just
it
need
And
to
that's
change
okay.
it up. Yeah.
It's good to keep things fresh, and
Yeah.
it's like some things need to, like Sonic, don't ever get rid of your ice.
Right.
Like that doesn't need to change. But there are things
Exactly.
on the menu, and just like in other businesses too, like you want to keep your staple items, but that work and they work well for you. But then you got to always keep it fresh and interesting too.
Yeah,
And you guys are
so
always
that's-
doing that. So one thing I wanted to bring up too, because it's one of my personal favorites and my daughter's, because you saw her the other day drinking one. Let's talk about the white coffee beans.
Yes.
I don't-
Okay.
I don't remember the formal name of those. Did I get that right?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's called white coffee.
White coffee. Okay.
Yep, white coffee. We have decided to call it Bianco Americano.
That's right. Okay. I knew I was going to forget that formal name.
Yeah, because
of it.
how it's served is like an Americano, where it's coffee and water, but because it's white coffee, it's the Bianco Americano.
Okay.
And where this came from, Guthrie, the city of Guthrie, hired a gal named Bree to work for the Oklahoma City or Guthrie Police Department.
Got you.
Oh my goodness gracious.
That's all right.
So she works for the police department, and she asked Shelly, "Where can I get a white coffee around here?" She's from Alaska. And Shelly was like, "What?
A what?
I don't know. Let's go ask Stacy. She's coffee. She'll see if she knows."
Right.
And so she's telling me about this white coffee that she gets in Alaska. And I'm like, she goes, the coffee beans are so lightly roasted, they're still white. And that's why it's called white coffee. But because they're so lightly roasted, it has 5% higher caffeine content. So you get the boost, and it doesn't taste like coffee at all.
Right.
And she's like, that's why she drinks 2 a day. I was like, all right, well, let me see what I can find out. So I contacted my coffee roaster. It took him 2 weeks of research to try to track down what this was. And it had just recently come into the United States in the Washington, Portland scene. But it's been in Alaska for 110 years. It's been there forever.
Wow. And it took that
But it
long.
took that long
Wow.
to come into the United States. And at that point, it literally was just in Washington and Portland. And so when we launched it in, what year was that, 2021? I think it was. It's been a couple of years. And I don't know about now, but we literally are the only coffee shop within this region that even has white coffee to serve.
Wow. And so another kind of fun nickname is the snow ice cream.
Yes, so
Yes.
that's what she drinks.
Yes.
And how to make it the snow ice cream, you add caramel and white chocolate.
Yeah.
So it's a Bianco Americano, and we add the 2 flavors to it. And it truly does taste
Like melted
just like
ice
melted
cream.
snow ice cream.
It's so
Yeah, so if you don't like the taste of coffee, you still have the opportunity to get a white coffee drink.
And get your caffeine
Get your
boost.
caffeine boost at the same time.
at the same time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because me personally, like, I don't drink black coffee, you know, which is why I love the Wordles with all the
Yeah.
with all the stuff in it that makes it so delicious.
Yeah, yeah.
Probably not the healthiest choice, but anyway, it's so good. And so, yeah, the snow ice cream is a fun option, and it makes you super unique because, like you said, nobody else around here or even in our region that you know of
Yeah.
has this. So
Yes.
yeah. So, so that
special.
launch, so that was another, again, keeping things fresh, always coming up with new things.
Yeah.
That was something you did in 21, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah, I think
I believe
21.
it
Yeah,
seems
was
like
21.
that just happened.
Yeah,
But
it does.
time flies.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
So obviously in the last few years, you know, and I always bring it up on the podcast just because I do feel like it's important to talk about how resilient Guthrie is, and it was a worldwide pandemic that no one saw coming. And I just like to find out and ask, like, how did you get through that? You know, what are some ways that you saw the community coming together or helping? Because that had to be terrifying as a business owner. You know, this happens and everything's shut down. So what was that like for you?
Oh, wow. Yeah. What was that like?
Loaded question, I know.
Well, when they made all of the restaurants shut down, right, but then you could offer curbside, we tried that for a week, and it didn't really work out that well. But it's just fascinating when you think back on God's path for you, you know, and you're like, oh, this had to happen for this, and then this had to happen for this, and God made all of it happen, right? People had been hounding me to open a drive-through for years, and I finally opened one in 2018. And so if it wasn't for having that drive-through as my backup while the downtown was closed for 6 weeks, we wouldn't have survived it. And if the PPPL money on top of that and the economic development impact grant that we were given, we would be closed. Like we would not have been able to come back at all. I mean, it was
people
that
aren't getting out to go
devastating.
buy chocolate and treat, because also people were not only terrified to get out, but also just what's going to happen, what's going to happen to the economy, what's going to happen to my job and my income, you know, all of it. So those are specialty items, you know, what you do is a specialty item. And so, and then not only that, you see, of course, wonderful support from Guthrie, but tourism. You know, tourism shuts down and people aren't traveling, and you get so much visitors from all over, lazy visitors, you know, all the things. So that shuts down too. Poland. And Poland.
There's a group from Poland that comes through every single year.
I've heard
and
about
they build
Poland
Guthrie
friends.
in their agenda on their way back to the
I
airport.
love it.
They do training at the Ditch Witch facility
That's right.
in Perry.
You told me about them. That's awesome. So so all of that shuts down.
Yeah, it was all shut down, and the bills don't stop. You know, your electric bill still comes in, your rent is still due. You know, all of that still happens. You know, the federal payroll tax that you had to pay from the previous month when you were open has to hit. You know, and when you're living or relying on each day's sales to cover the costs of those bills coming in, and those daily sales aren't coming in.
Right.
Yeah, if it wasn't for the government bailing us out, I'm trying not to cry.
I know.
It was very important.
Right. And very terrifying. But it's now 2023.
Yes.
And you are thriving and are in all kinds of new places. And we talked a little bit earlier about your wholesale clients and, you know, and so you got through that.
Yeah.
You know, and I know I've done many of these interviews, and there are businesses that opened in the middle of it because of career changes and having to figure something else out. You know, and then you have businesses like yours that have been here 16 years, you know, and that could have shut down everything, but here you are, you know, and so it's
growing
just, it's
and
part of
thriving.
all of our stories. It was a worldwide. It wasn't just us and little old Guthrie, America, you know, affected. It was obviously a worldwide thing, but I feel like, you know, like you said, everything happens for a reason, and your path, it obviously has, we've all learned something from it, some good, some bad, some things that work. So, you know, I talked to Dr. Simpson several weeks ago, and we talked about, you know, how terrifying that was, you know, from the school end of things. But then now there are processes and things that are better because of it, you know, so.
Absolutely.
Learning
I agree with that
for sure.
100%. Yes. And it also, I think, taught us all a lot of patience, because the supply and demand issue that happened right after that, in the wake of the pandemic, when you couldn't get straws or lids or cups, or I'm sorry, we're out of medium cups for 6 months.
That affected you in a huge way,
you know,
too.
because everything was sitting on barges in the middle of the ocean, taking 6 months to come through, you know? I mean, Peter's Chocolate shut down their entire white chocolate line for 2 months because of staffing, because, you know, they didn't have enough people to staff that line. And then right after, once they opened white chocolate, the milk chocolate went down. And so I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to do if I don't have, chocolate. And so
Right.
I'm ordering chocolate in October, and they're like, right now that's on back order, and our ETA is January of next year. And I'm like, I've got Christmas coming. What am I gonna
You're like,
do?
that's not going to work.
So I'm scrambling around, and I had to pay twice as much for that chocolate that I found, but I didn't have a choice.
Right, because Christmas is huge for you. Yes, not only do you see all the business from, of course, the Victorian Walks and our great events here in town, but it's gift time and, and so...
It's my biggest season for sure. Valentine's Day is second.
Okay.
But
Christmas
by
is
far.
larger.
Okay. Oh yeah. Because I'll have companies that email me the spreadsheet of list of addresses
all the
and
gifts.
say,
right.
here's my list. My budget is $50 a customer, and you build the boxes and you put them together and you box them up and you ship them out, and there's quite a few of those we do every year.
Well, I just I think you're amazing, and I think it's part of your story, and you could say I did that. I got through that, and I'm stronger because of it. And I know it made you emotional thinking about that, thinking about how hard that was for you and your staff. But here you are.
Yep.
And I know we're finally. There's still things that, like you said, supply and demand. That affected us. Year or 2 years after. Feels like things are kind of getting more regular and normal. But what is normal anymore? I feel like that's been new for all of us too. So I know that as soon as your doors could open and everything, Guthrie was there for you. Definitely, I've seen that, and I know how much you love this community because you love giving back. And so let's talk about that. Ways that you give back and kind of the process of how you do that.
Well, we partner with a company called Made Possible By, and I think they're a chamber.
They
member
are
as
chamber
well.
investors.
And they're an organization that has a website that facilitates all of the sponsorship. But that reminds me, I need to get with the library. They sent in a notification. I need to get back with them. So I'm in with the library, just so you know. And most of the time, it's just a formality, for tracking. But which is great that we have that opportunity to be able to facilitate. And what that website does is not only does it show you our values and what we, pride ourselves on and the businesses that we partner with, but it's a whole website for everybody else. So if you are looking for fundraising for your nonprofit, you can click on every single company that's on that website. I mean, they've got hundreds of businesses. So you just go to madepossibleby.com, click on businesses, and you can ask, just for sponsorships for anybody that fits your, your need.
Like a one-stop shop.
Yeah. We do a lot with Guthrie Public Schools. They have a lot of different things going on.
Always.
So, so we do a lot with Guthrie Public Schools, United Way.
But you too, you'll help little organizations to large organizations. About how many requests do you get a year?
A year? Oh, over 10,000. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you try
I get
to
2 to 3 a day. Every day.
Goodness. Wow.
I
just went, my jaw dropped because I knew it was a lot, but I didn't know it was that many.
Yeah, every day.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so you just try to do as much as you can.
And so
obviously within reason.
Exactly. Sometimes it's just a $5 gift card, know, and I'm like, I know this is what I can give you, know, but I give out $10,000 worth of $5 gift cards a year.
Right.
I'm sorry, but I try to give everybody at least a little something. The only things that we don't do are fundraisers for like individuals, like my aunt broke her leg and we're, that kind of thing. But if it's for, the aging services or, God's Food Bank or any of those types of organizations, we always try to, or like I said, Guthrie Public Schools.
I just feel like everywhere you go, you just see bricks. And like I said, you literally try to do as much as possible, and you've got the name out there, but it just shows your heart, friend. Like, how much you try to, like you said, you try to do something for as many requests as you get,
Yeah.
And it's just amazing because you're like, well, there's Rick's again, giving and giving and giving, and it's just amazing. And there's a thing I saw, I think on Facebook, it was a while back, and it was like, shop local because you'll remember who supported your son's baseball team.
Oh, that's
or your child's soccer team. And I think that oftentimes people forget that. It's easy to jump on Amazon or to go to the city and shop our big box stores. And not that our big box stores don't do good things, because they do. Yeah. We have some big box stores here in town that are fabulous, and we need them too.
Yeah.
But, remember who's writing that check or who's giving that sponsorship, because it's our local businesses, And so it's like, please remember that when you're requesting, because you it's easy to, jump on the highway and go somewhere else. But then when you have a need, they're going to come to people like you. Yeah. So there's my plug for shopping small. There you go. I know we scream it from the rooftops, but it's very, very important. Yeah. And so before we finish, we talked about your heart, and how much you love to give and just your resilience and everything.
Oh, Pepper's Ranch is another one.
Pepper's Ranch? Oh, I love Pepper's Ranch. And they're also a chamber investor. So, yes, you do a lot of partnership with them? Yeah. Okay, awesome. Yeah. Very cool. They do very good work, very good things out there. Let's talk about some things that you love about Guthrie. And we can talk about, what Stacy loves about Guthrie. It doesn't just have to be from your business perspective. This is home for you. And so, and your husband and your son. And so, what do you love about Guthrie?
Oh, goodness. One thing that I absolutely... like so many other people that are transplants, we attended a Victorian walk,
Really?
And just that whole atmosphere of the lights on the buildings and the people walking up and down the street and the caroler. I'm like, oh, we have to live here. There's no other place to live.
Done.
At that time, we were living in Oklahoma City at Hefner and Rockwall or in that area. And so, even though, we got divorced and I had the business, I'm like, I'm not leaving. I'm still staying here. This is my home regardless. And the man that I married, Nick Gilliland, he's born and raised here. His mother was the art teacher for 25 years. She retired in 2020. So if you went to Guthrie High School, you probably had my mother-in-law as your art teacher.
I didn't know that. Awesome.
And it's just, I feel like even though I wasn't born and raised here, I feel like I am. Yeah. Because it's a smaller town, but it's a small town with a big heart.
Yes.
When I really got to know the first city manager, I got to know really well because I knew Matt a little bit, was Serena Breland. She was here during the Gentlemen of the Road tour.
Okay.
And so that was why I really wound up partnering a lot more with the city at that point. And then Leroy was phenomenal. I'm so sad that he's retiring.
I know.
Because the longevity of a city manager is what we lacked.
Right.
Because every 2 years when you switch your city manager, it's hard to get anything going.
Right.
It took more 10 years to get a target, but.
Right.
So anyway, so it's been nice having him. But yeah, seeing what the city does with what little resources they have. I mean, Tinny. You may complain about this water leak there forever, but you have no idea the scope of work that man has on his plate and what he's having to prioritize and what he's getting to. And so, giving them as much grace as you can is much appreciated because they really do a lot.
Right.
They really do a lot.
Yeah.
And not only, there's not any community out there that does what Guthrie does.
I know.
We
might be biased, but it's true.
I was born and raised in Yukon before Garth Brooks. Well, actually, he was a junior when my sister was a senior, so we lived there, but it was before he became famous. And that town exploded. But even then, it was nothing like this. Nothing like this at all.
Right.
And the fact that even if you move away from here, you move back.
I have met a lot of families like that may have gone to high school here and then they go off and do something else or went to college somewhere else and then they end up coming back here. Well, so my husband and I, neither one of us are from here. And I'm from the Tulsa area, and honestly, I was convinced that my phone number is still 918. I'm very sorry, but I'm not going to change it just because it's complicated to change it. But I was convinced after college I was going right back to the 918.
Oh, yeah.
And then I met my husband, and he's actually from Edmond. But even he was like, I'm okay with a smaller community feel. And I grew up in a town twice the size of Guthrie, but still have that smaller community feel in a lot of aspects. And so I knew I wanted that. And he was really open to it, too. And boom, Logan County became home, as soon as we got married. And then we've slowly... several years in, we both worked in Oklahoma City, and we were Logan County residents. And then we decided to just move closer to Guthrie and make Guthrie home. And then now I'm like, I can't imagine. I mean, I've worked in Oklahoma City. I've done the commute. And now I'm like, I can't imagine not being in Guthrie,
right. Yeah.
So anyway, we're the same way. We're transplants too, and proud of it. So
how nice is it not to have to drive to 63rd and Penn every day?
Oh yeah,
that's where my office.
Sorry
used to
for
be.
our Guthrie residents and friends that do.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, but awesome. Well, I really appreciate you being my guest on. I love all that you do. You always offer a smile and a hug and so much support, and you just tell how much you love what you do. I mean, you put your whole heart and soul and energy and everything into that place.
Well, this community makes it easy. Yeah. It makes it really easy to be able to love what I do.
Yeah.
Because one of my most favorite things is when the customers walk in the door, majority of the time they'll smile. As soon as they walk in and they smell the environment, they smile. If they're having a bad day and they're not smiling yet, they're smiling when they walk out the door.
Right.
And that putting that smile on that customer's face that's why I'm in it.
It's all worth it.
Yeah. It's being able to provide the highest quality products and services to everyone every time.
There you go. Well,
That's
you
our
do
mission
that
statement.
and you do it well. So I thank you just for all the support that you've given the chamber. I know we didn't get into it, but you've served on the chamber board in the past. You've welcomed me with open arms and has been just a huge support just for not me, just me personally, but the chamber as a whole. And I just am so grateful for your partnership and your service to the community.
I'm grateful for you.
Well, thank you, friend.
You've really taken the chamber to a whole nother level, and
Thank you.
I appreciate all the new things that you're bringing, like the podcast and
I know.
the Friday Faces.
Thanks to some
and all
good
of
friends
that.
at Second Banana Media. Got to give them a plug.
Yes, plug. Shameless plug.
Definitely not me doing this by myself. That is for sure. So anyway, well, before our final finish here, tell everyone where you're located. We said downtown Guthrie, but maybe they don't know. So we should tell them where you're located and how they can get a hold of you.
Okay, we are located 109A West Oklahoma Avenue, and our phone number is 405-293-9309, and our website is www.ricksdowntown.com.
Rick's Downtown.
ricksdowntown.com.
And on Facebook and Instagram.
Facebook, yes. Facebook, we have, it's Rick's Downtown, Rick's Fine Chocolates and Coffees. Instagram, it's Rick's_fine.
Yeah.
Because
Instagram's weird.
It's weird.
I know.
Yeah, and I was like,
but definitely follow on social because you can see pictures. There we go. We got that on there on the screen for you. So some great photos. You can always see what's in the case, what new products, how to order. And Valentine's Day is coming up. The episode should probably be up later. Yes, I'm getting a nod from our production team. The episode should be up later. So today is February the 9th. So you still have some time, friends, to get your loved ones some chocolate. Yes, and strawberry orders are due
the 11th.
Yeah, so if you're listening after this, we're very sorry if you missed that window. But
that's just for pre-orders.
Okay.
Just to guarantee you have strawberries on the day you want, because with it being a Tuesday, we've got several that are 12, 13, 14.
Right.
So just whatever day you want to pick up your strawberries.
Yes.
You just
and even if you miss strawberries, there's
order
always chocolate in the case. So you can't go wrong with chocolate.
Absolutely. Yes.
Or coffee
we have heart boxes
Valentine's
and
today.
Stuff like that.
You one-stop shop and come get everything they need. All right. Well, thank you, friend, again for everything. It's been awesome talking with you and getting to know you a little bit more. Hopefully you all learned something. So get by Rick's, get yourself a sweet treat, and we will catch you next time for Chamber Vibes. See you later.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Chamber Vibes podcast from Second Banana Media Studios in beautiful downtown Guthrie, America. Be sure and check out a new episode every other Monday. And until then, remember to choose Guthrie.